Hi everyone, my name is Zan and I identify as genderqueer, and today I've just kind of had some musings about my status as genderqueer, and I just kind of wanted to put them in a video form so that people can understand me a little bit better. And so bear with me. I'm going to try to do this anyway. It seems that there are so many different actions and activities that have a specific binary gender associated with them. And I identify really more in the middle of the genderqueer spectrum. I prefer actually not even accepting the binary terms. I would rather be both genders or neither gender if I had the choice. But I know that here in this country especially, and the world in general, we have these thoughts and these feelings about specific genders and what makes one more so, like what makes a man and what makes a woman. And we've been taught these ideals, and we've been conditioned into believing certain things, and so it's really hard to break free from that. I, however, prefer to break free from that. So there's these different activities. For example, getting a pedicure is easily associated with being a female. And changing the oil in a car is male identified. It's unfortunate that we live in such binary gender dependent society whereby which different activities are defined by the gender most likely to participate in them. So, I like going to get a pedicure, and I like getting my toenails painted colors, not just clear colors, so that when I wear flip-flops, I have colorful toenails. But I don't identify that activity as a female activity. I just identify it as a fun activity. And yes, painting my toenails is fun for me, but that doesn't make me any more female than, Joe Schmo over there who doesn't partake in pedicures. I also know how to change the oil in my car, but that doesn't make me more male identified than, Jane Schmo over there who can't change the oil in her car. I know how to change the brakes and the rotors. I don't have all the tools for it. I have a friend who has all the tools for it, and I go over there and, and she and I work together on doing the tasks, and it was through her that I learned how to do these things. But it doesn't mean that I'm taking part in a man's type job or a female type activity or what have you. To me, these are just aspects that make up me. And I hate the fact that the basic traditional roles of female and male, although are evolving, are still things that are based on a basic binary principle. And I have such a hard time with this concept. That there's these professions even out there that are generally a female profession versus a male profession versus, things that you do that are identified with a specific gender. Why is that? I mean, why do we do that? And then, someone like me who could be either or, they'll say, well, you're in a female specified profession. You dress more like a male. You did it at, I guess they're descriptive terms based on our society, but I don't understand why we need to continue in these binary terms. As a transgender person, and I use the word transgender to mean moving across the gender spectrum, not necessarily trans specific, meaning going from one gender to another. I move across it. I sometimes am more female-like, and sometimes I'm more male-like. And I have to use those binary terms because that's what everyone is used to. So, I move across the spectrum. Trans, it's trans transportation. I transport back and forth. So using the word transgender, as a transgender person, there are aspects of myself which identifies with each of these genders, while also really relating to neither. I'm one of very few who doesn't really care about passing per se as a specific binary gender, and who also realizes that I am who I am in other people's eyes, specifically by their perception of me and what I am engaged in at the time. So through the years, I've come to terms with this, and I realize that, I can accept both female and male pronouns, because although I may see myself more in the middle and maybe identifying more male for myself in some ways, I also see myself identifying more as female in other ways. So when someone refers to me as him or her, I generally don't get upset with it, because I know that they are perceiving me as one or the other based on their values and based on their perceptions, and I can't really get upset with that, unless of course I tell them that I would prefer one or the other. There are times that I wish I presented myself more male, which is partially why I'm considering using some testosterone to look a little more male. But I still enjoy presenting as female at times too, and I like wearing a skirt periodically, painting my toenails, putting on a little eye makeup. These are things that I enjoy doing, and I don't think that they need to be identified by a specific gender. Although there are these times that I present more as male and still enjoy presenting as female, I feel very isolated in my stance here, in my feelings of this generalized genderqueer stance. Many of my friends who are or have transitioned really feel a deep need to be wholly the gender that they feel they are, which is usually the opposite one than what they were named at birth. I just don't get upset by others misgendering me, because I don't feel I'm being misgendered. I'm simply being perceived as one gender over another to someone else, via their perceptions. To me, it's not any different from someone seeing me as a mean person when I might in fact be very nice. So someone who sees me as female when in fact I'm feeling pretty male, or someone who sees me as male when I'm feeling pretty female, is not any different from someone who sees me as mean when I'm nice, or someone who sees me as fat or obese when I'm, maybe just moderately overweight, and somebody else who might see me as thin. It's their perception. It's based entirely on the perception of me in any given situation by them. And I accept that. I can always try and change someone's perception by acting differently, or acting on their instincts of what they have been taught by society over time. But I don't prefer to do that, because then I'm bending towards other people's expectations of me, and I don't want to. I just want to be me. I want to be comfortable in my skin and want to be who I am. And I found that by accepting that I am seen through others' perceptions, then I can begin to make a more positive effort to just be myself, and not try to bend or present more as one thing or another based solely on their expectations or perceptions, or based solely on society's expectations or perceptions, or based solely on the gender binary in general. I just want to be me. What is most important to me is how I see myself and how I validate myself. If I validate myself as right in the middle, or more male or more female, or whatever the case may be, that's my validation. No one else has to validate that. No one else has to see me as I see myself. I'm validated just by who I am and who I see myself as. And I accept that too. That's most important. And if I can get others to see this and agree with me without trying to conform to what they need in order to validate me, then half the battle is won. So the idea is to get others on board to understand my concept, my theory, whatever it may be, based on this whole thing. If they see me as me and how I validate myself, then they'll be able to validate me as me without depending on their perceptions of me, if that makes sense. God, I hope I'm not talking in circles, because I could be really talking in circles. I guess it's kind of a crazy concept in some people's eyes, because we've all been brought up with this whole binary term thing, and I'm just like right in the middle, completely right in the middle. Yeah, there's a lot of me that's very male, but there's these little teeny bits of me that are female, and if I were to transition to full male and want to pass completely as male, I would really miss these little female nuances that I have, and these little side things that I enjoy, and some of them are more primary, actually. So, and I like both sides, but I'd like to just, you know, not have it necessarily. I don't want people to say, oh, she's acting like female today, or, you know, he's really going female for us, or, you know, she's acting real manly today. You know, I'd really just rather it just be, you know, hey, Zan's acting like Zan across the board. I know I'll never be able to convince the entire world that the binary labeling system is so outdated, and that specific activities or actions or jobs or things like that can't always be given a gender specific to them. But for those that I can educate in this theory and who accept it for how I view myself, I'm extremely, extremely grateful. In short, basically what I'm saying is, I don't want to pass as anything other than Zan. And since I already pass as Zan, I guess that's a good thing. And I don't need a binder or a packer to help me pass as male. Sometimes I like to wear a binder. Sometimes in the past I've liked to wear a packer. Lately I find packers really uncomfortable. And I'm glad sometimes that I don't have the junk down there that I have to figure out which side of my pant leg I'm going to put it, because I just can't imagine having that all the time sometimes. Although sometimes it'd be kind of nice. But, you know, for the most part, I find that uncomfortable. Binders, on the other hand, I don't mind binding. I like it when my chest is flat and I have, and I look kind of more male at the top, but I don't have to bind. I don't even have to wear a bra. So when I'm, you know, not binding, I just wear an undershirt and a shirt, and I'm comfortable that way. But you can definitely tell that there's some sort of bump there in my chest. So, you know, people will perceive me as female at that point. But as long as I'm passing as Zan, that's really all I'm looking for. So anyway, so I hope you've enjoyed my presentation today, and I'm sure that I may come up with some other quandaries and musings and thoughts on the way, and I'll share them with you then. Until the next time, I'm signing off. Talk to you later. Ciao.